Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode number 229. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. Today's episode is inspired by one of my email subscribers, Robyn, and this is her question to me. She says, "We have found ourselves in a situation of exploding clothing. My own is minimized, but the amount of clothes my kids have need downsized. I'm familiar with the container concept and have an idea of what boundaries I want, but can't seem to get all the clothes clean so I can get through it all and get rid of a bunch. Going to a laundromat isn't really an option right now because of my chronic health issues. So, with clean clothes and dirty clothes all over the place, do you have any suggestions?" Well, I definitely do. And if you are in a similar situation to Robyn, I want you to grab that notebook and pen, and we are going to dive into today's episode. Hey Mama, are you tired of your cluttered home and mile-long to-do lists but are too overwhelmed to know where to start? Do you lack the time and motivation and don't think you'll ever conquer the clutter? You're in the right place. I'm Emily, wife, boy mom, and declutter coach who has overcome the overwhelm in my own life through decluttering and simplifying. I believe every mom deserves the peace that comes from a clutter-free home. Ready to get your life back? Let's declutter your home, head, and heart together. Okay, so I mentioned that Robyn was an email subscriber, so make sure you check out the show notes about how you can receive my weekly newsletter that I send on Fridays. I share not only what's going on the podcast, also if I've been a guest on other people's podcasts, but I also share a decluttering and organizing tool and resource, as well as my favorite recipe for the week. So I want to make sure that you sign up if you don't receive those already. Okay. I have prepared 6 different steps for going through this process. I'm very methodical. If you have been here any length of time, you know that. So we are first, number 1, going to determine your laundry frequency. That is how often you want to do laundry or how often you are doing laundry. Now, I'm going to go ahead and link in the show notes to one of the previous episodes I did about my daily laundry routine. It's episode 26. But a daily routine would be for everyone's laundry within the family, that you would do maybe 1 or maybe 2 loads a day, depending on the size of your family, to wash the clothes, dry the clothes, put the clothes away. And there are a couple other options beside that. So another option, which I'll call option 2, is that everyone in the family is assigned to their own laundry day. This especially works well as kids are getting older and you want them to have more responsibility for their own stuff. So everyone is essentially doing their laundry on their assigned day a week. And I would recommend putting a day in between if you can, as a catch-up day. So for example, the recommendation I gave to Robyn, because she has 3 kids, is that kid 1 would do their laundry on Monday, kid 2 on Wednesday, kid 3 on Friday, and then her and her hubby would do their clothes on Sunday. That way there's a day in between as a buffer in case somebody misses their day or needs to have a makeup day. Now, option 3 is if you're doing any other type of frequency. You're not doing it once a day. You're not necessarily having a day a week assigned to you. Perhaps you're doing it more often, meaning like 2 to 3 times a week, or perhaps you're doing it once every couple weeks. And especially in busy times, or if you have a chronic illness or there's other considerations, it may be different. So you want to have a quote floor and ceiling for what the ideal situation would be, and then what it would be if it can't be done as often as you like. So once you know the frequency, you then are going to move on to step 2, which is doing some laundry math. Okay? And what I mean by laundry math is that we have to figure out how much clothing we actually need. Now for kids, and I would probably even say for adults, you might want to have 2 possible items of clothing, like shirt, pants, etc., per day. If you get a spill on something, or especially with young kids, like if they're potty training, they might have to have more. But assume that for a week, you would need like 14 shirts if you allotted for 2 shirts a day. Or if you were doing laundry every 2 weeks, If you had 2 shirts per day times the 14 days, that would be 28 shirts. So you would know for each category, and what I mean by that is like 28, pairs of jeans, 28 shirts, 28 pairs of underwear, and then double it for socks. Or you can count socks as far as like having the pair of socks, you know what I'm trying to get at here. So just understanding like what that math would look like. And then step 3 is to look at the space that is allotted for that particular category of clothing and understanding what can fit comfortably where whoever it is, this time we're going to talk about kids, how they can find and manage their clothing easily. Okay, so usually clothing is in a couple different spots. The closet, so you can count how many hangers across things can comfortably fit without being crammed in. Most of my clients, when I arrive, they have stuff just crammed in there, and then it's really impossible to sort through and see what is what. Think about when you're shopping, like even if it's a place like TJ Maxx or Marshall's, like you don't want to have to fight to get the clothing out that you're looking at. You want there to be space in between. So knowing how much hanging stuff can comfortably fit. Then for dressers, you might want to consider having drawer dividers. I just use Amazon boxes with the flaps cut off for drawer dividers for my kids. So the top drawer, they have underwear, socks, pajamas, and then like t-shirts, and those are all divided out. And then we have the short sleeve shirt and the long sleeve shirts and the sweatshirts and then pants at the bottom. So it's separated out, which makes it really easy to see how much can comfortably fit in there. Now, Robyn, who I mentioned at the beginning, she has 3 kids, and she decided that it was easiest to just keep the clean clothes in the laundry room. And that might be an option for you. There's no rule that says that you have to keep clothes in closets or drawers. If you are finding that that's too much friction for your family, there are no rules. So perhaps in the laundry room, you're going to have bins for the kids in there of their clean clothes. And in her case, she said they just change their clothes there as well. So as they have dirty clothes, those are maybe going right into the washing machine, or perhaps they have their own hampers, but then the clean clothes are there too. Regardless, you have to figure out how much space that you are allotting for those clothes, okay? So next we're going to move on to step 4, which is to really notice what your kids are wearing and then to also gather up what they don't. So for what they're wearing in the closet, you might want to do something like the reverse hanger trick, where you put all the hangers backwards and then as they wear things, you move the hanger around so you can really see what they're wearing and what they're not. And then when it comes to drawers, I just know for my kids, because normally when I put things in, based upon those dividers, I might put all the clean clothes to the left and I move everything else to the right. And I can see what my kids gravitate towards. Like, I'm pretty sure, since I do daily laundry, that my kids would wear the same 2 shirts every other day. And I noticed that. I'm like, I feel like I just saw you wearing that. Whereas other pairs of pants or shirts, they don't wear as often. Or maybe if you ask them, they're like, oh, those are uncomfortable. Oh, I really don't like those. And so that brings us to the second part, is gathering what they don't wear. And I would recommend having a donation hamper or something of the sort in their closet. So when you're having the conversation and they're like, oh yeah, mom, those don't fit anymore. Or, oh yeah, I don't really like those. You can just right away put them in the donation hamper. And as soon as that gets full, then you take it for donation. And that's like your visual cue that that's what you're supposed to do. So that also helps with the decluttering because you're kind of doing it in the moment and it makes it really seamless as far as like your daily routines. Okay, so we have gone through steps 1 through 4, moving on to step 5, which is to really notice the volume of clothes that maybe you have in some of those other laundry baskets. So I was with a client and we went through the closet and the closet looked pretty good. And then she said, oh, well, I actually have clean clothes in some of these other laundry baskets too. So because that tends to back up quite a bit, it might be worth doing a couple different things. One is that if you have multiple baskets of dirty clothes, to prioritize one of those for the next round of laundry, or perhaps if you're starting to do it by person, that you kind of separate it out by person and try to get through a little bit of the backlog of that dirty laundry first, the stuff that's been sitting there. Also, same goes with the clean laundry, that we prioritize wearing whatever is in these clean laundry baskets first to see what it is. Does it still fit? Do we still like it? That sort of thing. And so that's helpful. And my recommendation is, this is kind of moving into the next step as well, is to really understand what your dirty clothes collection strategy is and what the container is for that. So here are some different options. Okay, if you do something like our first option, which is we're doing daily laundry for the whole family, which is what I do. We pretty much have one laundry basket that's used for the whole family. And then in the morning, I take that and I do the one load of laundry. So that's one option. If you're doing it by person, then each person should have their own hamper or their own laundry basket for their own stuff. And if you know that, okay, Emily's laundry day is on Wednesday, the laundry basket should be able to hold a week's worth of clothing without stuff coming out. So you would need to pick the container based upon that frequency. So you really want to make sure that there's not a lot of friction involved with the collection of dirty clothes. I was talking to, I believe, Katie Joy Wells, I think it was her, and she was talking about how they just put their dirty laundry directly into the washing machine. They don't even use hampers or laundry baskets. So if that works well for your family, then go ahead and pick whatever would work best for you. But the point is that there is some sort of visual cue or a schedule cue when you know that the laundry needs to be done for that day. And then being able to work with your family to make sure there's not a lot of friction. Another one of my guests said that she had a hamper with a lid and the family members kept putting the clothing on top of the lid. So then she just got an open basket to reduce the friction of that activity. So there's a lot of different options. Okay, so we've gone through steps 1 through 6, and I am going to recap them right now. So step number 1 is to determine your laundry frequency and whether you're doing it all together for the family or if each person gets their own day. Number 2 is doing some laundry math based upon that frequency to know how many items of clothing you actually need. Number 3 is to look at the space allotted for clothing and see how much can actually fit comfortably per category, and also that people can put it away easily. That's another aspect. And number 4 is to notice what your kids are wearing and what they're not, and also to have an easy collection strategy for what you want to donate. So having that donation basket within their closet, for example. Number 5 is to notice any of that excess laundry that might be either dirty or clean that are in those extra baskets and prioritize that first so that you can see what you have and get through some of that backlog. And number 6 is to decide on a dirty clothes collection strategy. So either one laundry basket for the family, everyone has their own hamper, and then it gets, as soon as it's full, then you're doing your laundry, or perhaps putting it directly into the washing machine. And the final tip is sort of a bonus, which is to allow technology to work for you. So many washing machines have a delay start setting. So if everyone puts their dirty clothes in the evening, you can do a delay start, have it start at maybe 6 in the morning or so, and then have a reminder on your phone to change it from the washing machine to the dryer when that is done. And perhaps you can have the action of folding the dry clothes if you want to fold. Again, no rules. You don't have to fold clothing. Here's your permission slip. But if you want to do that, to pair it with a fun activity, like when I am folding clothes, I'm watching a show on Netflix or something that I don't normally do otherwise. So there are all of the laundry tips and everything having to do to how to integrate decluttering your kids' clothes into that process. And if you want to talk more about decluttering kids' clothes or decluttering anything, go ahead and join the free Facebook group at tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey Mama, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, could you please share this episode with another mom who is feeling overwhelmed? Also, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a 5-star written review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Finally, if you would like more support, come on over to our free Facebook group, tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. Can't wait to connect with you soon.